Hello everyone and welcome to episode 86 of the Cherry Heart podcast. I'm Sandra and you can find the show notes for this podcast with links for the things I talk about and some more pictures on my blog, which is cherryheart.co.uk. Just click the podcast tab in the corner. Not sure if it's that corner or that corner. And you can also find a link to the show notes down below if you click the little arrow below the video if you're watching on YouTube. You can find me around the web as Cherry Heart, and I'm on Instagram as Sandra Cherry HRT. And I've also got a little bit of vloggy footage again, which I'll pop at the end. Just a little bit of lockdown life footage for you, so not anything terribly exciting, a bit of baking, a bit more government issue walking. But I'll shove it at the end, so if you're like, yeah, we've seen you walking, that's not very interesting, you don't have to watch that bit. But I'll pop it at the end in case it is of interest to anyone. So how are you? How are you doing? We're plodding along okay here actually. We're doing alright. Well, our little household is doing alright anyway. Like everyone, we've got a few, or like a lot of people, we've got a few concerns outside the immediate family, but overall we're doing okay. It's Easter holidays now, so homeschool has been packed away for a bit. Yay. I normally look forward to the holidays just for a little bit of relaxation of the normal schedule, not having to get up so early and all that sort of thing, and we have a few slower days. And I thought it might be different when we're sort of not, not in our normal routine. Can you hear him? I've got him, he's whittling down here. What? Why have you started whittling now? Go sit down. Yeah. But actually with the homeschooling and that being quite full on, it's actually been just as welcome forever to, have an Easter break, and we're still doing the slightly more relaxed schedule, so I'm hoping it won't be too difficult to step it back up again in, a week or so when we have to get back to school, because I'm assuming we won't actually be back to school. I'm assuming it'll be back to homeschool. I don't know. I think they're sort of saying there are the beginnings of positive signs, but we've got another week of, like, the initial amount of time they said was lockdown would last another week, but it's looking pretty certain it's going to not be lifted that quick, and we're in for this for a bit longer, I think. But anyway, let me tell you what I've been up to. So what have I done? I don't think I have with me a lot of the things I've done because I've hung them up. So the first thing I've done, I'll have to put a video in, but it's hanging up here in my craft room. I'll see if I can show you a bit quickly. Now I'll just put a bit of video in, it'll be easier rather than trying to set everything up again, and it's always a bit of a disaster. Yeah, so my Boho Bunting, no that's it, just Boho Bunting. So it's by Emma Ascott, who is Lulu Loves. She's got a podcast too, and she does lots of lovely, gorgeous things. She's got a beautiful style. If you haven't ever watched her podcast, you should go and check it out because she does beautiful things. But yeah, so this was her design, and I used the Stylecraft Naturals that I've been blaring on about lately. I used those for it. What else have I got to tell you about it? Not a lot really, just it was a nice, because they're nice little triangles, it was quite a nice little project to fit in while we were a bit busier the last couple of weeks, because you could just do a little triangle and then leave it if you needed it to. So that was quite a nice little easy project to fit in, and I'm really happy with how it looks in the craft room. It looks really cute. It took me quite a while to decide on the colours. There's so many nice ones in the Naturals range that I couldn't quite decide what to go for, but I got there in the end. Oh, actually I did use one colour from something else. I've got some Cascade. I think it's the Pima? Is it P-I-M-A? I keep wanting to say Prima, but I'm pretty sure there isn't an R in it. Cotton. And I don't think you can get it anymore. They had a Pima cotton and an Ultra Pima cotton, I can't remember which one it is. But anyway, there's a very pale blue I've used from that range in with the Stylecraft Naturals. It might be that Stylecraft Naturals have a pale blue, I haven't got one, maybe. I haven't checked the colours to see if they've got one that matches very close, but I'm sure they have. I'm sure they have similar things if you just want to get one type. Yeah, so that was a nice project. I'm really happy with how that looks. And then, oh, actually the other done thing I've got is this. My little rainbow hanging. I'll pop a picture in of that as well. It's all going to be pictures popped in this week, this time. Yeah, so I finally caught on to the fact that here in the UK, at least, I don't know if they're doing it other places, the children are drawing rainbows for the NHS, just a sort of rainbow sign to put in the window, just as a little, you know, a little symbol of supportiveness for what they're doing, and you know, a little hopeful symbol all round, really, which I quite liked. And I think a lot of people have, you know, it's not just the children doing it now. I think a lot of people are quite like the idea, including me. And I was watching Ali, Little Drops of Wonderful. Hello Ali, if you're watching. Hope you're okay. Yeah, I finally watched a few podcasts. Sorry about that, the dog. The next door neighbours come out of their house, so Bertie has to bark at them. I don't think he knows about like the social distancing, but you know, he's just a full-time policeman anyway, so he's got to tell the neighbour off for leaving their house, clearly. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yes, so the rainbows. Yeah, so Little Drops of Wonderful, Ali was saying about doing a rainbow, and she was picking out her colours, you know, and deciding what she was going to do for her rainbow. So I thought I'd do the same. So I come up with the rainbow, but I wanted to do a little sunshine and clouds as well, because I wrote about this on the blog. I'll pop the link in the show notes in case you're interested in, but basically it was sort of saying about how I, you know, quite often lately I always try to look for the silver lining in a situation. So even when things are cloudy, there's generally a silver lining to be had if you look for it, and I think we need to look for the silver linings at the moment, don't we? Because there's a few clouds. So I've done a little sun peeking out from behind the cloud. I hope my Asbo dog is not upsetting things too much. Yes, so the little sun is poking out from behind the clouds, and there's you can't quite see it from here, but I'll pop up a close up in hopefully. That there's a little silver lining I've put onto the edge of the cloud as well. So that's what I've got hanging up in my window. That's what I made, and I posted. I'd done the rainbow and the cloud and things, and I posted on Instagram, and everyone was asking about the pattern. So I'm sure there's loads of rainbow patterns on Ravelry, but I've just done a quick pattern with just showing how I did mine, but also with this sunshine and the clouds, and I did another little cloud as well where I was experimenting with shapes. So I popped that in as well. But it's a free download. It's just on my blog. Again, the link will be in that same blog post link that I'm going to put in show notes. So I'll pop it in show notes for you so you can find it easily if you want to make your own. Yeah, so I did manage to sort of bash that out. On the last day of homeschool, actually, she had a couple of things which she was quite occupied in, and she had a nice long stretch where she was quite busy, so I actually managed to get something done, which was quite amazing. Feel like I haven't got amazing amounts done, not on that front anyway, but I've still been able to carry on crafting and things, so that's all right. And then my other finished object is to do with this. I brought this up a while ago to show you, and I keep talking about it and saying I haven't brought it up, so I brought it up this time. So I was doing, if you were here last time you'll remember, I was doing a little window sort of dressing for my kitchen window. I don't know how to describe it. It's just like a little lacy panel that I'm hanging at the top of my window, kind of like a neck curtain, except for it's obviously not a neck curtain, it's a crochet panel instead. But you know, it doesn't come down all the way through the window. I've just got it hanging at the top as kind of a decorative thing. I'll put a picture in, that would be easier, wouldn't it? So I'll pop a picture in here and you can see what I'm talking about. So I managed to get it hanging up on my window, which wasn't an easy task. I had a blind up there and I thought, oh, that'll be fine. I'll just be able to take the blind down and somehow use those attachments and just sort of string it across. I managed to find some little, you know, the neck curtain wire. I found some of that hanging around, so I was pretty sure I had some, so that was good. I had enough and I had a length long enough to do it. So I was like, okay, great, I'll put it up. Yeah, but it ended up not being that simple. These things never are they? I kind of wished I didn't start at one point. I was like, oh my gosh, I'll just put the blind back up again and forget it. But I did get there in the end, so I was very pleased with myself. Yeah, and I got it hung up there. So the design, anyway, that I used was based on this. So this is a shawl that I was given by my nan when she was clearing out her things. She went into a home for a little while, and so she had to clear out some of her things for her house. And yeah, this was the sort of motif. So this is the square. It's that way up, and that's the corners of it. So sort of there to there. So it's a circle in a square, but on here they've used it sort of on the diagonal to make the shawl design, which I really liked. So I did it on the diagonal for my window as well. But yeah, it's quite a sort of different technique that's used. It's almost like everything's done in a sort of, well, almost like a puff stitch. You know when in a puff stitch where you draw them up, draw the strings up, and normally strings, yarn. Whoa! The cat just jumped on my sideboard. I thought it was almost going to fall off again. Made a spectacular leap but landed badly. Anyway, very distracted today. Lots of distractions today. What was I saying? Yeah, so you know in a puff stitch you pull the yarn up to sort of the height and then you know, yarn over and do it again. You do it quite a few times, so you've got a few strands that you sort of, and then you do a slip stitch to pull them together at the top, so you've got a puff. This is sort of like that, except for they're just sort of doing one each time. So it's almost like a really long extended stitch, but how they managed to get such an even height all the way round, I don't quite know. So I don't know if there's some other technique. The corners are done like that as well, that these are pulled up. It's hard to tell because it's kind of like a mohair yarn, so it's very fluffy. They're all pulled up. They're not like regular crochet stitches. But I made my motif just out of regular crochet stitches because it was easier and I wasn't entirely sure how this was done. But I really like this shawl as well. It's really pretty. And on this edging they've got this sort of elongated stitches as well, and the tassels are actually loops, so I think they were sort of worked into it as they did this edging. I think they just sort of pulled out a long loop, you know, and then sort of held it out and then carried on stitching. So I don't know quite how they were making all these long lengths all the time and then working them into it. It's sort of like a broomstick lace type idea, except for it's obviously fastened together in an entirely different way. So I don't know, it's a bit of a mystery. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is that I made the motif based on this because I quite liked it, and I kind of, I'm quite pleased with the decorative kitchen window thingy, and the sun's been shining lately, so the sun's coming through it nicely and making pretty little patterns, so it looks really lovely. So that's good. So that's everything I've done and finished. Now let me show you what I'm working on. Let's move this out of the way. So the first one you will have seen if you were here last time. Try and do it without banging everything everywhere. So it's a bit hard to show. Let's see. I'm doing the neckband at the minute. So I've got the neck all sort of scrunched up on the needles, so it looks a little bit odd to say the least. So it is. So I've got the whole body done. Everything's sort of curling up. It's very wide. I think I might have gone a little OTT with the wideness. So it's an oversized one. Let me show you what it is actually. So this is the pattern I'm making. It's called Understated. It's by Hoki Locatelli, and it's very much in that kind of boxy sweater style, but this one is double knit yarn, and it is slightly different. I think the boxies have longer sleeves. I don't know if the neckline's different on the boxy, I can't remember. But anyway, I like this. So that's what I'm making. So it is a very boxy, oversized style. So obviously it's going to be big, but I think I went for one size up, because normally when I knit things, I'm finding that if anything I come up smaller. So normally if I go up a size to what I should want, it kind of seems to work out better for me. So I did that, but this time I'm not sure I needed to because it's super wide. Yeah, and as well, it's not obviously looking at its best at this precise moment. But the neckline was very low and gaping as well, so I thought I would just pop the neckline on before I did the sleeves, just to make sure I was happy with that, because I might do a few more rows of this neckline if it's still looking really open. Perhaps, if I make the neckband wider, it'll close up the gap a little bit. Does that make sense? You know what I mean, don't you? Oh. Dog barking. I'm hoping that you can't hear it quite as bad. It sounds really bad to me. Right, so where was I? Neckline, making it wider, scrunched up neck. Here. Yes, anyway. So just the neckline to do, and then I've just got the sleeves, which they're quite short sleeves, so I'm hoping that'll be quite quick. So I think that's nearly done. And then it'll have a little block, mostly to sort of get this, because obviously it's pulling in at the moment, this ribbing section to sort of sit properly at the top. And then hopefully it'll all come together and look marvellous. Let's hope. Oh, and the yarn I'm using is Sublime Extra Fine Merino Wool DK. There it is. I think the colourway's just got a name. 18, shade 18, sort of like a graphitey grey colour, because she had a really dark colour in the pattern and I liked it, so I just did the same thing. So yes, but it's been a nice one, because lots of just stockinette stitch, nice and mindless, and I just really enjoy having that as you can just pick it up at any point and start just knitting a little bit on it without having to think about anything. Yeah, that's all there is to say about that really. And then the other thing that I have started is this. I got this. This is an incoming goodie. I don't know if I talked about it last time, if the goodie had income by then. I don't think so. But anyway, I got this just before everything went into lockdown. I think I ordered it, and then Nikki still managed to get it to me, even though the lockdown started. So thank you ever so much, Nikki. So it's by Nikki Franklin. I'll pop her little Instagram thing down here. I think it's just called, I don't know, Nikki Franklin Needlework or something it might be, but I'll pop it down there so we know it's right. Yeah, so I found her, oh, there we are, Nikki Franklin _needlework, that's her Instagram, and it's nikkifranklin.com. Yes, so she has, what has she? I don't know what I'm even saying. I've been seeing her stuff on Instagram because I've followed her for quite a long time, and it's just so beautiful, and I just fancied doing one. For some reason I've got it in my head that doing the embroidery is going to be more relaxing than doing my normal crafts. But I don't know how that can possibly be true, because I'm less used to embroidery, and so therefore I'm more worried about it getting it right. So surely that's more, stress inducing. But I don't know. I just like the idea of some nice nice relaxing embroidery. And yeah, once I'm going on something, I'm a little bit, you know, have a bit of trepidation about starting it at all, or starting a new stitch in a new section. But once I've started, I kind of get over myself, and then I'm all right. Anyway, so this one is called the Vintage Beehive Embroidery Kit, and as you can see, it's very pretty indeed. And yeah, it's just everything about this kit is really nice. It's really nice to receive because it's all, you know, the paper is beautiful. The little tags are lovely. It's got some nice, you know, vintagey fabric on it. The threads will come on a beautiful card, you know, all sorted out for you, beautiful colours. It's just a lovely thing to receive and use, and yeah, it's just lovely. Very descriptive today, everything is lovely. And she gives you sort of instructions for what stitches to do where and what colours to use and so on. But this is what I've got so far. So I've done my little beehive. Oh my word. I've done my little beehive, and I've started my foxglove, which I'm quite pleased with how that came out. So yeah, I think it's coming on all right. So I'm just doing little bits here and there and not sort of rushing through it. It does require, like I say, it requires a little bit of concentration, so it's not exactly mindless sit in front of the telly type stuff for me, because obviously I'm looking what I'm doing the whole time, so you can't really watch telly. But I can listen to things, or sometimes, because like my little poppet, she'll sort of watch things again and again. You know, Pirates of the Caribbean is in at the minute, and what else has she been watching a lot of lately? I can't remember. But anyway, she'll pop them on, and oh, the Harry Potters. She's been going through the Harry Potters again, which we've both seen like a million times, but I just don't mind watching them again mostly. Sometimes it's a little bit frustrating if you've only seen it like last week or something, but generally it takes a while to go through all the films, and then we'll go through all the something else's. And anyway, she'll put them on and she'll watch them, is my point. And so I can be there and I can be focusing on this because, you know, I know the story. I don't really need to be focusing on exactly what's happening. And yeah, we just sit there and I do this, and she chunders away about what's happening. She's funny because she's not a silent watcher of films. She has to chat all the way through them, especially if they're ones she knows. She'll say, why do they do this? Why don't they do that? And I think they should have done this here, and why didn't this happen? She kind of picks them apart. It's quite funny. But that's part of the enjoyment for her, and we sort of have a bit of a joke about it. But this way, I can know what she's chundering on about without sort of necessarily knowing where they are in the film, or paying much attention to what's happening in the film. And then I can go, oh yeah, he should have done this, shouldn't he? Anyway, so that is my other object that I'm working on at the minute, and I think that's pretty much it. Patterns are not in progress at the moment, so not a lot of pips apart from that one that I managed to get out. I did sort of make a start on trying to write up this motif, so I might try and do something with getting a pattern out for that maybe at some point, but it's just a case of far too many hound related interruptions today. You nuisance. What was I saying? Oh, this pattern. Yes, I've made a start on it, but we'll see how it goes. So don't hold your breath is what I was saying, because at the moment, you know, everything's different, isn't it? So we're just doing our best to do what we can. Everyone is, so it's the same here really. But maybe something will be coming at some point. And incoming goodies aren't really happening either, apart from, you know, I got the embroidery the other day, but I haven't really been yarn shopping for quite some time. I probably will leave it there actually, because I don't want this to get too long, because we've been having internet issues for quite some time, and although luckily we managed to get it mostly fixed before the kind of lockdown started, so we can get onto the internet and it kept dropping out constantly and horrendous speed problems. So anyway, it's, you know, not dropping out now, so we've got a solid thing, and the speed is not great, but it's workable, so that's good. But the only trouble is the uploads, so the download speed is not bad. The upload speed is absolutely awful now. So it's taking yonks to upload a podcast. So I'm trying to make them a bit smaller so it's not quite so torturous. Yeah, so I'll leave it there before it gets too long, in short. But I will try to get on and podcast again. I'm trying to stick to my usual schedule there as well and do one every other week. In the meantime, stay safe, look after yourselves, everyone. I hope you're coping okay and managing everything okay. And we'll keep crafting through this. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.
I really like it.
Are you happy with the hot cross buns?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not going to walk back the tree here, I'll probably pull in through the bushes.
Probably.
That won't be fun.
Funny, but not fun.
Yeah. Funny for you, maybe.
Yeah.